Welcome to another episode of Santi section. Before I get to my guest, I just want to say give a huge thank you to everybody that's been rocking with us. It's going into 6 months now. We're about to hit the 6 month mark of Santi section. So thank you to everybody who's been tuning in every Saturday at 7 p.m. And I appreciate the support. So today, my guest, he's a veteran in the game. Goes by Short Dawg, the native. How are you doing, brother?
Good. What's going on?
Not much, man. What do you think of the setup so far? It's your first time here, bro.
First time here. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. Technology, it makes you wonder how it works like that. You know what I mean?
Right? and you were telling me before we recorded you have your own studio, right, as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
But not a podcast.
Not a
It's
podcast.
just straight up music studio. Yes.
Yeah, we also have a music studio here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll show you around once we're done. So shout out to Penuckle. He's the one that set this up. I was tripping out, man, when he set this up, because I don't recall ever having an artist on my platform that has like a management team and is very well organized. I'm not saying the other artists are, but you guys have quite a team, you know?
It's taken a while. Penuckle's been around for, probably almost the beginning of Voodoo Nation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he came in like probably around maybe about 3-4 years after Voodoo Nation started.
How long has Voodoo Nation been around?
Since I call it about 1998.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
98.
And then we started in 98 and just continued on until now.
That's awesome, brother.
Yeah, so we're still rolling.
Yeah.
Still rolling.
Yeah, and truth be told, so Penuckle, I've been following him for, I think, ever since my last podcast.
Yeah.
Like, we followed one another. Like, we never interacted. And then the way I came across you, though, it wasn't through him. I started following you because one of my goats is Tech 9.
Right.
And I saw you opening up for Tech 9. Somebody promoted it. It was probably Penuckle, and I was like, oh, shoot, homeboy's opening for Tech 9. And that's when I started following you. And yeah, it's a trip that you mentioned Voodoo Nation. And I feel that when it comes down to Tech 9 and strange music, that's like how can I put it? The blueprint for what all of us are trying to do
Independently.
You right?
Yep.
Because I can't think of anybody that in my lifetime, that with no airplay, with no starting from scratch, with no totally independent, not relying on a big major label that was able to like push the units that he's pushed. And I mean, he's made the Forbes list many times. It's crazy.
Imagine.
Yeah.
I was younger when I used to listen to Absolute Power.
Oh yeah.
One of those albums. Angelic.
Yeah. The first time I ever heard him was through Angelic. Yeah. It was like one of my coworkers back in like 2001. He's like, hey, you got to listen to this cat Tech 9. And right off the bat, when I heard the name, I'm like, this is just like some gangster rap or something. But then I started listening to the music. I was like, holy shit.
I always love that cover too with his red hair.
Yeah.
I've been on a couple of tours with them too. Misery Loves Company and Psychology 101.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So with that being said, aside from him, I mean, what other acts have you opened up with or toured with?
Touring, opening up for, when I first started, opened up for 3-6 Mafia.
Oh, shit.
Up in Vegas. Afro Man. Touring, I've been on the Cottonmouth Kings tour, the Green Album tour. I forgot what other tour I was on with them, but been on tour with Tech 9. Opened up for 2 Chainz, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Been on Rock the Bells, Pay Dues. Quite a few of them.
That's right. Yeah, they I mean, everybody you just mentioned, they're like in my top 10, top 15 list,
I mean, they're the best. And I learned how to go on tour from strange music and I just grew up a lot being on tour. That was my first tour I've ever been on, was in 2007 with Misery Loves Company. I went out with my rock band Dogface Gods with Tech, and I just learned right away how strict, how responsible you got to be when you're on tour, and they taught me all that.
How many cities did you guys hit at the time?
For my first time being on tour, we were on, I think we did, I don't know, about 2.5, 3 months.
Yeah.
Like there was shows back to back to
Yeah.
back. I mean, you get 2 days off and you're on the on your road
Yeah.
again too. So it's quite a few shows. I got a bit of a thing I save at home with all my shows at. So it's kind of it's a lot.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a
It
lot of
is. Yeah, because as soon as you mentioned tours with them, I know that with that group of artists, it's a grind. I've seen other people tour, but I don't think in my lifetime, I know a lot of artists, but in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever witnessed an artist tour as much as he has. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a grind. And I've seen other artists on other platforms share that, similar
Yeah.
experience as you have, because it's a fucking grind. I think what, one day off out of the month, something like
Yeah,
that.
you get I mean, for my first time going out on a serious tour, I mean, I was blessed and I'm still blessed to be able to do that. But I mean, to get on that tour with Tech, yeah, it was a show, one right after another.
Yeah.
And you're traveling like you do a show, you travel 6 hours, 4 hours to the next place, and you're just constantly moving, moving.
That's right.
But I mean, they got everything on there. They have everything straight up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it. That's why I'm kind of like I don't know, I'm just glad I got that
Yeah.
to go on tour with them because they go and they go and they go.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't stop.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's
Yeah,
strange.
from one city to the next,
Yeah.
I trip out because when I see when they do put out a tour schedule, I'm like, God damn, he's gonna be in Riverside tonight, San Jose the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Vegas the day after that. Like,
Travel.
it's fucking crazy. So I must ask you. So you've been on several tours. Was there ever a moment when you're like, damn, bro, like next time I got to get my body straight and ready for fucking the next one because I didn't know it was such a grind or that it was going to do this
Oh.
to me physically?
Definitely because I mean, you know, you like to party. I mean, I was younger back then too,
Yeah.
so you like to party, you like to have drinks and everything like that. But going on tour, you know, it was cool. And then never going on tour and just starting, you have to learn right then and there, especially like to get thrown out to go straight up with like strange music.
Yeah.
And again, they don't play. They're strict. They're
Yeah.
strict, but it's how I learned how to be that way too when I get on tour. I learned not even to eat pizza when you open up the show. That's why you go to the green room, the thing you get is pizza all the time sometimes, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like I learned real quick after a few shows I can't eat pizza and get on the stage, you know?
Yeah.
I learned real fast and you just can't learning real fast too is you want to bring your own food too sometimes when you're gone
Yeah.
because you can't hit all the fast food restaurants on the way back after 30, 60-day tours and stuff like that. You come back blown up.
Yeah.
So I learned real quick, like probably after the first tour with Tech and then getting on the other tours, you know, I learned real quick how to like
Yeah.
what I got to do to stay and the sleep I got to get. And but it is hard too because when you're one person trying to run a camp or bring in a camp to work with you when you go on tour is hard,
Yeah.
you know. So I give Strange, I give like Cottonmouth Kings when they went on tour, they had like crews, E40. I've been on tour with E40, and I mean, it's good to have those crews that like respect and they love what you're trying to do, so they're pushing you even more to go. So
That's
it's
right.
really kind of hard to build that group to take with you when that happens
Yeah.
because it was my first time, but I know what I wanted, and to bring a group of folks to help me do this, it's slowly like a build for them because they've never been gone away from home too.
Yeah.
So it was kind of different to grow up with a few different people in the groups that went with me. But man, I learned a lot. I learned a lot.
Yeah. Can you? Well, what did you learn?
The main things is for me is, and I'm kind of stickler with it too when it comes to being performing on stage, is you always got to be on time. You know, nobody waits for you. If you don't get up there on time, you get kicked off. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not there, you don't show up. It was just being that responsible person. But I was kind of lucky enough to grow up with my family to know that. But I learned really fast with going on tour with Tech and everybody. But just you can't be the way you were when you're at home. You know what I mean?
You can't. Yeah.
No, you're on your toes.
Yeah.
And you're traveling a lot.
Yeah, reason why I asked you those line of questions right now is because, like I've told you, I followed like was religiously following Tech Nine for a good 15 years straight, you know,
Yeah.
especially when social media, when I barely started using social media. That's probably like one of the first people I ever started following. And that's who I learned from. That going on tour is a fucking grind, regardless of what you see on camera. You may see people partying and shit, but
Yeah.
I remember pre-tour, he would hit the gym. He
Yeah.
would be. You have to like get ready for tour the way
Yeah.
an athlete gets ready for his next match, the way a combat fighter gets ready for his next fight.
And
Like you have to
that's
get
what
it.
I was learning.
Yeah, you have to get in fight shape. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And then like I saw some interviews where he talks about that too. How like he wouldn't really drink, or at one point he stopped drinking during his performances, all of that, and he started taking B vitamin, shots and things like that in order to like stay up to par.
Right.
It's fucking crazy.
No, it is, and
Yeah.
and I'm just glad I'm glad I started with them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Oh,
glad I
yeah.
started, and I got to see the in and outs, the
Yeah.
background you never see. If you're an audience member or just a true hardcore fan, it is the background is really hard. Preparation. I mean, as an artist preparing, and even the groups and the people that got to be with you, the
Yes.
sound, the lighting, everybody, and they got that locked down.
Yeah, they're definitely. You started with like a top shelf movement. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to top shelf hustle, you know?
Oh yeah, and
For sure.
I'm just happy because Tech, they opened their arms to us and took us on, and I don't think that would have happened if it was with somebody else, and I think it would have started a lot slower too.
Yeah, for sure. Do you aside from Strange, and I'm getting, I'm asking this because I know your people and what they've mentioned to me about you.
Yeah.
Have you had trouble being booked ever since? And if you have, like, why? Like, if you don't mind sharing the story with regards to that.
No, I don't. It's not a hard time of being booked. I think it's a hard time of somehow. I'm not sure if it's being acknowledged or trying to get out there. I'm not sure. I'm still. It's a crazy question. Like,
Yeah.
like I haven't been, but I've been hustled before many times.
Oh, okay.
And that's the hard thing is when you work, you get a lot of promoters that get you out there, but they want something for it.
Yes.
Because they're working for something too. I understand that, but you get those ones that kind of like go sideways rather than straight ahead, and they hustle other people, and then you get pulled into some hustle that you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
I've been through that, and sometimes I think that may have been like something that somewhere, if I wanted to get picked up in something else, they had to like, well, I'm not sure, I heard this or something. But so I've never heard anything.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what it is. And sometimes I think back, maybe it's because I'm like, is it because I'm native? Is it because we ain't heard that much, or I don't fit in a certain genre, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what it is, and then my thing was when I first started, and because I'm native, it was like, I don't want to stay on the reservations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get stuck performing for my own people, because I want to take it and I want to go off the reservation and I want to have other people hear it and bring those people back.
Yeah.
To the reservation and be like, oh shoot,
Mm-hmm.
There's natives out here performing. So.
Exactly.
But it's been hard and I just feel like some of the times that I've gotten like arms open wide was like with Tech, Cottonmouth Kings, E40.
Yeah.
When Gorilla Union was going, with Pay Dues and Rock the Bells.
Yeah.
Chang was there for me, and he was always like, dude, get up on the stage and perform,
Yeah.
Just take care of your merchandise booth, your booth. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, just do that. So they showed me the love, you know what I mean? But it's still kind of hard, from those. But I think if I would have kept going at the time with Tech and doing those shows and those concerts and kept going with those tours, I think I would have been a little bit farther than I am now. You know what I mean? I think I'd be a lot farther, but it just costs,
Yeah, it
being
does.
on tour costs, production costs, studio costs, the thing that's free is everything you can write down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But just everything costs.
Exactly. And for those of us that may not know, because this is a very important, to me, I feel like for the audience to listen to,
Yeah.
you know, ballpark, for those that are always like the casuals that can be like, oh, bro, you went on tour with him, but I don't see you anywhere else, or etc. Right?
Yeah.
Or let them know if you can, or give them like a ballpark figure of about how much that would cost for an artist.
To honestly go on tour, like a good tour like that, like a 3-month tour, come back for 2 weeks and get back out on another 2-month tour and then come back for a week or a month and go back on another 3-month tour. Out of the whole year, it's probably about a good 100, about 150, $200,000.
Damn.
Because you gotta people you gotta take with you that that have to work with you, your little crew you got, and you gotta hope that they're responsible enough once they're on the road with you that they don't want to come home because they've never been away for that long, or it's that, and it's just if you don't have that, it's hard to do unless you're somebody that just blows up from like a song or two and then boom. I mean, they got you like that because they want to hear you and they put you on those tours. But when you're independent and you're trying to grow like that, I mean, it's hard. It's hard and it costs money.
Yeah.
It's not easy. That's why I look at other artists and I look at how they're up there all the time and I'm like, I want to be up there. Damn, what do I got to do? But sometimes I think it's hard too, is when you are trying to be an artist, you have to have the right people to promote you and put you out there and have your back and have that same dream that's in your heart and your mind. They got to have the same vision as well, because if they don't, then it just runs stagnant. You know what I mean? It's like water staying still instead of flowing.
No, you're right.
You got to meet those people that have that same vision, because if you don't, it's kind of like you just spin your wheels.
It's true.
And I've learned that growing, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It's important to like break out of your shell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very important, because I feel that, I mean, shit, right now, I mean, I have you here, right?
Yeah.
We have your boy over here. Like, we're all from 3 different areas of the map. You know what I mean? And we're uniting. So that's important, because I feel that in situations like that, the top shelf hustle is always going to outweigh that one talent, you know?
And once you're up there, I mean, once you get somewhere like that, at that point, you come out with a song that everybody wants to hear. You're out there. I mean, people want to work with you, but it's kind of harder to find those people that to look for you or to come see a show of like Short Dawg the Native or something like that, you know, and like who's that guy? You know what I mean? He's just another dude flowing on stage.
Yeah.
And so like my thing is like the Native influence. Well, I'm different. I'm Native, you know. You don't see a lot of Native Americans performing on stage, but there are quite a few hip hop artists, singers, actors, actresses that are doing it. And I think right now a lot of the movie industry, that's opening up a little bit more for the Native people. But in the music industry, I don't see it too much. And when I do see natives, then I start to kind of question, are they really natives? Because they never said that at the beginning when they were performing, you know? But they start coming to an end of their, maybe not really retiring, but not coming out as much as they used to. And now they're like repping the native stuff. And I'm like, that bugs me.
Yeah, like it's like exploiting.
Yeah, it bugs me because it makes me wonder, well, if they were native this whole time, how come they never represented it until now, after the fact?
Yeah.
How come they're rocking their beaded hats and doing all this stuff? And it's like, okay, where they at? Where were they at the beginning, you know?
That's crazy.
And I've met a few artists that, you know, they say they're native, and I won't, you know, I can't even knock them for saying that, but when you start hearing other things like, oh, they ain't from this place, or they're not this, you know what I mean? And then you see them say something else later, then you're starting to say like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, why'd they do that? You know what I mean?
No, you're right. I mean, I can relate. I grew up in the 80s, and I remember, you know, seeing actors and actresses with Hispanic last names, you know, but they would never really share that with anybody, you know? It was weird. Like, it was like against the grain, or it was just, it wasn't allowed, or they just they were embarrassed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And now we're in 2024, and it's the thing to do.
It's come out like, boom, this is who I really am.
But I mean, I don't want to talk shit, but I mean, Mario Lopez, right? You
Yeah.
know, like now I feel like now 30 years later after he was on Saved by the Bell, now he's embracing his culture more than what he did back then. Like I feel like back then he wasn't allowed to. It's weird.
And to be honest, man,
Yeah.
I can't say I've been like boom, I've been like this the whole time because growing up, I mean, honestly, growing up, I think a lot of Native Americans in different areas, you know, we have our reservations we live in with
Yeah.
our family, but once we go to school outside the reservation, I mean, it's like any kid once you go to
Yeah.
school, there's different like music, there's different genres of kids and there's different groups, there's gangs, there's other things that happen and when I got I think when I was growing in as a teenager, you know, I was trying to find that, you know, and so I really didn't push my native influence at that
Yeah.
time because I'm still trying to find myself
Your identity. Yeah.
in school and around people, you
Mhm.
know, because I can say, yeah, I'm from here and all that, but as a kid and a kid talking to a kid, they don't understand that.
It's true. You're
And
absolutely
so
right.
I try to find my way. And so it's kind of funny. I'm gonna tell something that I never said before that I never really talked about. But when I was growing up, you know, I influenced the music that it really influenced me was growing up listening to Ice-T
Mm.
and NWA, and then listening to like Run DMC and the Beastie Boys, and listening to all those, and they're from two different sides. You
They
know?
are.
Who would have ever thought that that would influence me? But then I grew up listening to rock too, Kiss and
Yes.
Social Distortion and everybody else, you know. And I'm trying to find myself at that point, so I just I just kind of went toward. I don't know what I was doing, but I was just kind of like walking around all, you know, trying to figure out what I was going to be, who I was going to be. But I knew what I was inside, and it took me a while, a few years to be like, you know, this is who I am, and I'm just going to make the music. If I shave my head bald like I used to, I'm going to keep it bald. I'm going to grow my hair back out because I don't need to do that. You know what I mean? I used to wear long white T-shirts and khakis and Chucks,
Yeah.
or I'd wear K-Swiss with Levi's stapled up to the
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
instead of hemmed, I would staple them.
Same here.
I'd wear the sometimes I'd wear the short socks with the little balls in the back of the things, and I don't know what I was doing. I was wearing all that, and I wore all that until I got into high school, and I think I stayed at it just like that all the way until out of high school. And then all of a sudden, little by little, I'm changing the way I dress, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it took a lot, and I got a lot of influence from a lot of folks, and there were some that loved me and some that didn't, you know, and some that still today don't even want to see me go anywhere. They just rather you are the way you were back then, and that's the way they see you.
It's true.
And they don't see anything else, and I can't believe their minds don't open like that. You know?
That's a trip.
You know, just like family's the same way sometimes. So
it's exactly the same.
I think I take that influence when I make my music, and when you hear it, sometimes some of the music's raw and just like in your face, like you're doing this to somebody, and sometimes it's just laid back. You're trying to tell somebody, I'm from this place. I'm a Native American first, not a money man. You know what I mean? And that's a thing too hard. Coming to being Native and having what we have, you know, we didn't have that stuff back then.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
And that's where the hustle comes in, because when you don't know people and people see you have an income coming in from behind you somewhere, they kind of see that than they do see the artist.
Yeah.
And that's when the hustle begins. So I've been effed by a lot of people that way. And sometimes I think people want to help me, but then I think sometimes with me looking at them, I think maybe they're just here for that hustle.
Yeah.
And then when I first say something straight up about something, then it's like, oh, I can't help them.
Yeah, no,
you know
you're
what
right.
I mean? Because I think they were coming in for a different reason and not the reason that I was going in for.
Yeah.
You know, the music. They were coming in for the money.
Yeah, the struggle is definitely beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's dirty.
And
you know?
learn from it.
Yeah, you learn from it big time.
And you grow from it.
Yeah, what you just shared, I mean, I think us over here, we can totally relate to that big time. You know what I mean? We're grinding to get somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And on your way, people can see all of this, and they're like, "Oh, let me grab onto that."
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard. You're right. It's hard to identify that, because in your face, they're like, "Hey, what's up, bro? Like, you're my boy. This, and that." You know.
But
But
in the back, they're like a whole different reason. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
exactly. But you do have those that will hustle for you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I
yeah,
appreciate those. But then you have those that are asking for a handout
yeah,
at times where you're just like, bro, like, okay, well, what what are we doing? You
yeah.
know?
And Penuckle, man, he's a good hustler. You know,
Yeah.
he's a person that got me this
Yeah.
spot right here with you
Yeah.
guys. You know, and I really appreciate that. And again, we've been around for a while. You know, and to be honest too, I write my stuff, but he's helped me write some
Okay.
music.
That's
You
awesome.
know, so he's a collabo with me,
Yeah.
and I've collabed with him, and he's an amazing artist and a good writer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's beautiful that you said that,
Yeah,
man. I appreciate hearing people like give behind the scene things
yeah.
and not being prideful, you know what I mean?
What
And big head, you know?
I've thought about that too. Is like, what would people think if I told them, man, I don't write all my stuff all the time? But it's like it's kind of hard, dude, because it's like I do a lot of things right now. We're working on a cartoon. We're working on a cartoon. I do my cultural tribal things with the kids, and I do a lot of stuff. So it's kind of hard for me to sit down and write stuff because I get writer's block.
Yeah.
And if I need help, I can get a hold of Penuckle and be like, dude, listen to this and let me know what you think. Or if you have something you think that can go with it, let me
Yeah.
know, and he'll come back with something that
So
flows out right.
you give him the concept and he writes the pretty much the lyrics. In
Yeah,
other words,
or I'll
in a
give him like
situation,
lines and like maybe a verse, and he'll come back with two
he'll
verses.
fill in
Like,
the blinks. Yeah.
yeah, or like I'm stuck on a hook. Can you do this for me? Like, what do you think? So we'll listen to my stuff, and boom, hook comes out.
I mean that's teamwork right there.
No, and
You know what I'm
it,
saying?
and it helps because I always thought like that pride thing. I better not tell nobody that people gonna be like, you don't do this, you don't do it. But you know what? Look at all these famous singers and how many writers that write for them.
Exactly.
You know, they don't write all their stuff. I mean, there's a lot of them that write their
Yeah.
stuff, but then there are those top tier singers that have writers,
I mean, look
and
at
and they perform their stuff like actors
yes.
in movies. When you read the script, it's the same thing.
That's right. It's the entertainment business, and
Yeah,
people need to recognize that.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But when you love the
Yeah.
music and you feel it and you can grasp it, it becomes yours too. You know
That's
what I mean?
beautiful, man. Yeah. I mean, from you mentioned your inspirations right a while ago, your influences, and I mean Dr. Dre. You know, like
Yeah,
he does
NWA,
NWA.
Dr.
Like I
Dre,
mean,
Eazy-E.
Ice Cube was
Yeah,
the writer of most of their music. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And we're still until this day we're still giving Dr. Dre his flowers for what he does on the mic,
yeah,
even though it's not written by him.
yeah,
Eazy-E,
yeah,
Boys in the Hood was written by Ice Cube.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like people need to get off that shit.
yeah,
You know, when it comes down to working, it's work. We're all working together.
yeah. And then I grew up listening to people like that. You only write your own stuff. You don't do
Mm.
this. You don't do that. But then it's like you get a little bit older and you start to see, well, these famous singers got people right behind
Yeah,
them.
if
Like,
you read the credits,
could
there's
write
like
this song.
yeah, if you read the credits, there's like 10 ghostwriters. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen that.
And it's
Yeah,
it's and it bothered me back then to say something, but it's like, you know
yeah,
what? Just leave it all out there.
yeah. Of
It is what
course.
it is. You know what I mean? I mean, I grew up writing my own stuff, but then it's like I need help. You know, I got too much things I'm trying to do right now. You know, I wish I could do that all the time, but I
Yeah,
mean, if I was up there and I had time to do it, I mean, if I was up like I'm sorry, like these famous cats,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Then I would have time to be like, I don't
no,
got to
you're right.
worry about
Yeah,
anything because I got that generating now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But it's not generating yet, so I'm still building and building and building and learning.
yeah. I love that you shared that with us, man, and I appreciate that. Like it means a lot because I've never had someone like open
Yeah.
up like that with as it pertains to their music and their craft, and I think yeah, of course, there's moments where you do gotta spill your blood, sweat, and tears
Yeah.
on a pad. I understand that, and it's crazy though. Like a lot of people, just like right now, how they're infatuated with the whole Drake and Kendrick thing. It's like, do we? I mean, like, is it really them? You know what I mean? I know Kendrick probably, like, because I know he's gotten Pulitzer
If you were to
prizes
ask
and
me
all.
that question between the two, I would say Kendrick.
Yeah,
I think he's
he's
I
a
could say he's like legitimate. He got his hometown right there
yeah
backing him.
he's a true songwriter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But the other one, it's like he's got priors to not write his own stuff. So it's like, really, are
Yeah.
you battling him or are you not? You know, that's what
Yeah.
I meant. Like because I feel like when it comes down to a battle, that's different. You know,
Right.
like if I'm battling you, bro,
Right.
you got to write your own lyrics. But when it
Oh
comes down
yeah,
to like
definitely.
putting together a beautiful piece of art, the way you broke it down, that's amazing, man.
I think it even
Yeah.
makes it better. You know
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
definitely does.
And when 2 or 3 people can come together, it makes it even stronger.
Yeah.
Because you believe in that, that other person believes in it, and the third person believes in
Yeah.
it. And you just get more of those people just to help push you ahead, you know?
That's beautiful, man. So just diving just real briefly into your music, I was told that a lot of your music disappeared from streaming services, or how did that play out? What happened?
Oh, well, before that happened, before that disappeared, all my, all my, well, hard drives now, we had what, DATs,
Yeah.
ADATs and everything we had on there. I had my first, building Voodoo Nation Studios. We had a band called Dawg Gods, and I picked up an artist, or he was a kid still. He was just graduating from high school, but he was a gifted drummer. Picked him up, and from school, from doing a career day, picked him up from school. He went to start producing with us, and he went to MI. So he came back, started doing all our other stuff. But then with that stuff happening and everything being missing like that, that's where the physical stuff disappeared because he got into pharmaceuticals, started doing all that crap. And while I was on tour, he was taking my studio equipment little by little. All my different everything, and little by little. We had a meeting with them, and we were working in our studio, and my attorney was there and noticed that a lot of old things were like, he's been around for years, the attorney, but he noticed all my things were different and everything looked old. And he made a comment about that. I looked at everything, and I didn't, never dawned on me. Yeah, it's just been moved. Patch bays moved here and there. Different things were like empty, but didn't even dawn on me until I got back from tour. I had to do a show. Came back, all my stuff's gone. My computers, everything's gone. But my cousin ended up jumping in my house on one too. Took a few of my things, but with that happening, opened up a can of worms, because once that happened, the law enforcement came in to do a check, see what was missing. They asked me to do a checklist. So while I was doing my checklist, I went into my studio and noticed little things were gone. Came back, my producer was there. The sheriff had asked him to come back the next day so we could do a list. So about a few days later, we got back together, got back with the sheriff and myself, and the producer never showed up. And we kept calling him, never called me back. And so the officer just said, hey, go check all your stuff and make sure it's all here. So I went into where I hid all my guitars, hid everything put away, gone. Just the cases were there. Drum sets were gone. All my ADATs were gone. Everything was gone. My everything, it was just gone. He never showed up. He disappeared, and he was the one that took it. My cousin took some autographed pictures and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's what opened up the can of worms to find out that he stole all this stuff. Damn. So within that time, that was like 2010. And I was just getting back from doing a tour with, I think, Cottonmouth Kings, because I was on Tech, Cottonmouth. And then I was doing some shows at the casino, at the Tukut Lounge at San Manuel Casino. And from 2010, I think, to 2015, I didn't put no music out. It killed my whole career. Like I was second guessing, like, do I want to do this anymore, or do I just want to quit? Because all my stuff was gone. And to this day, I cannot find those hard drives. Not hard drives, those ADATs. They disappeared with him. He took all my stuff. He came into my mom's business, dropped off a set of drums and a guitar and one of the things we use in recording, and left it there. And they all ran, jumped in the car, and took off. But that wasn't everything. He never went to jail for anything, paid restitution. I think he took about $35,000 worth of equipment and only paid me like $10,000 back within about 3-4 years, because it was like $200 a month that the court told me I had to pay. So I lost out on all that, and it killed my whole thing probably till about 2015, around that time. And then I started getting back into my stuff, but I lost a whole bunch of time because of that.
Yeah.
And I started questioning myself, like, do I want to do this? Because it just broke me. You know, it's like coming into this place and you come in and just see a floor. You don't see this anymore, but don't know where it went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just killed it. But Tim helped me do some stuff during that time. I think I was putting like maybe one song out a year or something like that. Where I should have kept going, but then it was the whole thing of losing that, and then being where I couldn't go back on tour again because it was just too much.
Yeah.
Because you're going through about, for me, about $150,000, $200,000 a year, and on tour, and then losing all that stuff. So I just stopped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was your whole investment.
Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't had a studio since. I mean, I have little, back then I had my SSL board, all that stuff. That stayed. Everything else disappeared. But nobody uses SSL boards as much as, like, big studios still have them. Yeah. I got mine put away, but everything's just on computer now,
Yeah.
You don't need all the modules you would use. You can just pull them off and get the software online, But, yeah, that's my studio today is just like this little table.
Nah, but I mean, even then, bro, like coming into this, I mean, I know you're still doing, well, I'm glad you're doing big things now, which leads me to, how did the collab with E40 come about?
I don't know. You know what? It was a song that me and Tim did. We worked on Go Get Your Paper. And we were talking about it. And we're like, who could we put on it? Who could we ask? Because I just went on tour with E40. And it's like, let's hit up E40, And he said, yeah. He said he would do it. And see, that's the love. I mean, I appreciate all the love that they've given me from the beginning of my music. Mellow Man Ace helped me at the beginning of my first album, Mellow Man Ace, Bobby Ross Avila, Badass. Those were on my first albums right there. My second album, ABK, Anybody Killer, from Psychopathic Records.
Yeah.
Richter, Daddy X from Cottonmouth Kings, Cut Calhoun, Tech Nine.
Cut Calhoun.
They were on the album. I mean, just them showing me love, giving me that, because some of the cats now you try to ask, they won't help. Cypress Hill, Dawg, Be Real, they were on there, and just it just showed me that they said because they got yes or no. I don't know this guy. They could just say no, but they didn't. They helped me out. They put their voices on my music too, and I really appreciate that, because that's some hard stuff, and just to ask but get a simple like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
for sure,
It's beautiful
because other
feeling.
cats you can ask and they're like, I don't know this dude, you know what I mean? Who's this guy? But they didn't, and that's love. I appreciate each and every one of them. E40, Too Short, they're on my album, and I mean, if it wasn't for them, I think to help, it's that push, You're in martial arts, you collect your belts as you get to levels, what I mean?
Right.
And it's like it showed me like, okay, I must be doing good for them to be like, yeah, for sure, I'll get on your album,
Yeah.
It shows that you're doing something positive, because I know they're there, they've been there, they've done that, and they're still doing it. I know they're like, could be picky too, and be like,
exactly.
no, I don't like this guy. Who's this dude? But them for bringing me aboard to do that.
Yeah, it carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, especially Mellow Man. Mellow Man produced the track for me, was on a track with me, and that was on my first album. But I mean, just giving me that love like that.
That's beautiful.
And to everybody else, I mean, I can't remember. If I don't remember, that's no disrespect, but it's just all them cats right there, just love,
It's like, how they say real recognizes real. Well, in this case, I feel like when it comes down to being in a movement like this or in this type of business, hustle recognizes hustle. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be the most talented person in the world, but they probably, if they don't see the hustle in you, they probably wouldn't fuck with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for me too, I think, I've lacked my hustle too, because there's times when you have that downtime where you kind of second guess yourself and you're like, am I doing the right thing? Because I'm a singer too, and I sing. I've had my band. I still do music, singing and stuff like that. But then I question it, like, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? I've been on tour with cats like, some different cats that we was talking on the bus, and some trip out on me that, like, why are you doing this? You know, and it's like, what do you mean? You know, well, you have this like income you get from your tribe and all that. And it's like, well, what's that matter with the music? Though?
Yeah.
Well, like, why are you doing it? And one of the comments someone made to me is, "Are you doing it to collect trophies?" And I looked at him like I was kind of like, "What's a trophy?" You know, like, what do you mean? Am I trying to get a trophy? You know, I'm doing it because I love the music. I'm doing it because I've been doing it since I was 6. Not the hip hop stuff, but all my tribal singing.
Yeah.
And then my mom being a singer, and I grew up being that. You know what I mean? I kind of got into my rap stuff a little late. I mean, got into my mid-20s, and I could have done it a little bit sooner. But back then, I'm running around in the streets, and
Yeah.
dabbling with like drugs and messing around. You know, if I didn't do that, I probably would have been a little farther than I would now. But hey, it's like those things are put in our way to grow from those things. You know, so I started a little bit late in the hip hop game and doing all that, but it's just learning from it,
Exactly.
growing from it, because there's a lot of cats right now that are hot, but they just haven't been heard yet. And that's one of my things is like, I just want to be heard. You know what I mean? And just let me go up there and do something. Let me show you, you know, and to help you out is I have my own funds in the background. So if you want to pitch in and invest in me, I can invest half of that too. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But nobody recognizes that. You know what I mean? And it's just weird. I don't know. Sometimes you question it, but you don't question who you are. You know what I mean?
That's
you are
right.
who you are. If you're
That's
native,
right.
you're native, and you're always going to stay native.
Yeah. And from what you just described about your upbringing or the obstacles that you went through, you couldn't have said it any better. You know, like you wouldn't be here probably right now giving this interview had you not gone through all those
Yeah.
obstacles. You know, it turned you into the person that you are now.
And I learned
You know?
from it.
Of
you
course,
know?
and you survived it. There's a lot of
Yes.
us that can't say that we survived it. You
Uh-huh.
know, so huge shout out to you, man. Like I love your story. I love everything you do. I know you're a huge contributor to the community as well. You know, I've heard you've donated turkeys. You've done all kinds of stuff. You're
Yeah.
teaching kids.
I miss donating turkey.
Yeah. So, yeah. What's the best piece of advice you could give anybody, brother?
Remember who you are and where you came from.
That's right.
Remember
right.
who you are and where you came from.
And how can they get a hold of you? How can they find your music? And what services are you offering right now?
Man, you can find me at thenative.com, voodoonationllc.com. If you have kids and children in school and you want to learn about the history and culture of our tribe, our regional area, the Inland Empire, San Bernardino County, you can request me. You can email me at vdn3225@aol.com, Voodoo Nation VDN3225@aol.com, and request for me to go out to the elementary schools. I go from preschool all the way up to university level of teaching our history and culture.
That's awesome.
And I'm always available to do shows, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. Get out there and do some shows. If you're an artist or you're trying to be an artist, you just got to keep doing it. And when you feel like you got to give up, you just got to keep going, you know, because you don't know what's after that obstacle that's right in front of you. If you can go over it or around it, you could do it.
That's right.
You know, that's that thing. But remember who you are and where you came from. That's the first, you know.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, man. It's been a very in-depth conversation. I've learned a lot, bro. I usually give a lot of like feedback, but I learned so much where I'm just like embracing the moment. You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate you for bringing me on here.
No,
you know, I don't do it much, and I don't know, when you grow up on a reservation, you're kind of secluded from everybody. And if you don't go past those walls that the government put you in, you kind of stay secluded. And I've learned that growing up with my own self is that, you know, you kind of, like you said, you have to break out of that shell. And I still have a shell that covers me to this day, you know, and I got to get out more. And that's that part of that hustle you're talking about. You got to hustle, even though if you're going to be a rap artist, you're going to be an actor, you're going to be a singer, you got to get out of that shell. You know, sometimes it's just nervousness or something that you've locked up inside you, just got to let it go. But to do that, you got to use your heart and your mind together, you know, instead of just your mind, because your mind play tricks on you sometimes, you know.
Beautiful.
So you got to use this.
Hey, I appreciate you. And
Thank
I'm
you
sure
very
that
much.
this is the first of several times that we're in Leak Up, my brother.
Let's do
For
it.
sure. All right.
For sure, man. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll catch y'all next time.
Hakupa Ai. Thank you.
What up, everyone? This episode has been brought to you by Jam Hits. Jam Hits is a one-stop shop for all of your multimedia needs. Whether you're an artist in need of some studio time, recording a music video, if you're in need of printing out some artwork for your upcoming album, show, or merch, Jam Hits is the place for you. We also have many different podcasts and radio shows in which you can promote yourself in the confines of our state-of-the-art studio. I guarantee you, once again, Jam Hits is the place for you, so go give them a follow on Instagram. This is for all of my sneakerheads out there. I get all of my sneakers from one place, and that is Inland Empire Sneakers. Are you tired of paying those extra fees on certain websites? Are you tired of missing the beat on the latest drops? Are you tired of your shoe plug being outrageously overpriced? Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, go give Inland Empire Sneakers a try. That's my primo, and let him know that Santi sent you. Once again, Inland Empire Sneakers on Instagram. Go give them a DM, go follow them, and for an extra discount, let them know your boy Santi sent you.